Hello,
Hey
Tanya.
Mike, how you going?
Good, thanks.
Tanya Segalov is visiting one of her clients, Mark Hollis, in the Sydney suburb of Blacktown. He's one of the home renovation cases.
So how are you feeling?
Mark is 44 years old, the father of 2 young girls. And tomorrow he'll have one of his lungs removed. He has mesothelioma.
How are you feeling about it?
Pretty stressed out.
Yeah. Okay.
Just see if I wake up and see the family in front of me again.
Mark Hollis represents the future for claims against James Hardie, one of a relatively new wave of victims whose exposure to asbestos was brief and transient.
All right. Well, in relation to the court case, the proceedings have been have been commenced, which is really important because once the proceedings have been commenced, if anything happens to you, the claim can be continued at its full value.
In Mark's case, he was working alongside his brothers and sisters 30 years ago with Hardie's fibro.
I was helping my dad cutting, sweeping up, and then after that we bought another house back in Adelaide again, and another extension there as well. Cutting at the same time and sweeping up. Yeah, a little bit more.
Now they have to concentrate on the present, giving Mark as much time as possible with the girls, Katie and Tara.
Being a kid, I don't know how she's dealing with it in her mind. She doesn't like talking about it, I know that. Because every time I say to her, look, you've got to be good around the house, she goes, I know Dad's sick, so she knows. Yeah.
Mark is hoping to be here for Christmas.
Get someone dressed up in Santa, so I might do it myself. So have Santa here on the 23rd and the 24th December this year, if I'm feeling all right. So, yes.
Dr. David Bryant is one of Australia's leading experts on mesothelioma.
Well, it's very difficult to predict because you don't know who is the population at risk. So that it is not as if you can go through a defined set of industries and say, well, look, we will screen all these people. You could do that, but what about the other people who've been exposed to it inadvertently or in an innocent bystander situation or even when they were a child?
James Hardie's executives and its board knew a great deal about people like Mark Hollis.
There was regular reporting to the board at each board meeting as to the settlements that were paid and the asbestos liabilities, and it was something that the Chief Legal Counsel, Peter Shaffron, and the Chief Executive Officer, Peter McDonald, kept a very close eye on. And they were in a very good position to know that in the months preceding the establishment of the foundation, the number of claims against them were increasing and the amount of those claims were increasing.
Faced with this new generation of victims, the untold and uncounted cost of compensating them, the board's plan was to move the company overseas, beyond the reach of Australian law. In August 2001, having successfully launched the foundation, the schemers had one major obstacle: the New South Wales Supreme Court.
The way in which that was going to be done was by a scheme of arrangement which transferred these massive assets, and it required court approval. It required the court to be satisfied that the interests of creditors wouldn't be affected.
Hardie's assured the court that they had created a lifeline, $1.9 billion in partly paid shares, to protect creditors in Australia, including the asbestos victims.
In terms of the application for the approval to restructure the company, to move its headquarters to the Netherlands and all of that, the partly paid shares were a sort of crucial element because they were the assurance to the judge there was enough cash in the Bicky tin to meet all these claims.
In 2003, James Hardie was safely ensconced in its new home in the Netherlands. As the fund's directors in Sydney increased their demand for more money, the James Hardie board quietly cancelled the partly paid shares, severing the so-called lifeline.
That what His Honour was doing.
Now, a key question for the inquiry is whether Hardie's and their lawyers, Allen's, misled the Supreme Court. Hardie's CEO, Peter McDonald, offered this explanation.
But at the time of the submissions to the Supreme Court, to create the James Hardie Industries NV in the Netherlands, the company did not have an intent to cancel the partly paid shares.
Looking for answers, Sunday's Ross Coulthard went to James Hardie's new corporate headquarters, a modest office suite in Amsterdam.
Sunday programme, Channel 9 Australia. We're wondering if we could do an interview with James Hardie about the situation in Australia.
But even on these far-flung shores, they know the value of PR.
One of the reasons we've come to you directly is because this is now your corporate headquarters, your world headquarters for James Hardie, and we can't find anybody else other than a PR man to talk to us about these issues. But wouldn't it be a good idea for somebody from the company?
He's our spokesman, so he is aware of all the issues.
James Hardie! Lay the victims down!
Hardie's communication strategy, attract as little attention as possible, had blown up in the company's face. They're now exposed and under pressure from all sides.
The Treasurer is responsible for the corporation's power, and I regard, and I think he does too, those who have liabilities, avoiding those liabilities, as engaging in behaviour which is unconscionable.
The Attorney-General is examining ways to pursue James Hardie's assets overseas.
And that's one of the reasons that we've initiated the discussions, both with the Dutch and the reason that we have also sought to look at those same issues in relation to the United States of America.
In the final days of the inquiry, all the parties waited to hear Hardie's plan for the future. When it came, it was brief, an offer to fund all its victims, but with a catch, and one targeted at their adversaries, the plaintiff lawyers. Hardie's want the New South Wales government to introduce a statutory scheme that will take asbestos out of the courts, an outcome they've been after for many years.
We now get into a situation where they say, forget about how badly we've behaved, forget about how wrong we've been, we're outside the jurisdiction now, and you've got a real problem. It's going to cost you a fortune, take you years to get us. So here's our proposition. You legislate exactly as we say, and you might see some of the money again.
To plug the idea, Hardie's new chairman Meredith Hellicar was prepped for a quick round of media appearances.
That I can then say, sorry. I can do no more than say sorry.
It smacked of those sort of performances that are very carefully sculpted by your PR advisors. You've got to hit these two buttons. Every interview you do, you know, we're sorry, sorry, sorry. You can say that in all sorts of configurations as you like, and you can even say very, very sorry or extremely sorry.
James Hardie's last throw of the dice is still in play, and the New South Wales government has to decide whether the company's making a genuine offer or if this is just more spin. James Hardie, business as usual. Given what we've learnt about the way Hardie's have operated during the course of the inquiry, I wonder, can you trust them? Can you take at face value any commitment they make?
I think we'd be very sceptical.
The one person Hardie's spin won't touch is the man now poring over thousands of pages of evidence and submissions. David Jackson's inquiry has peered behind the corporate veil. He may make observations about the company's morality, but his key findings will be whether laws were broken. And if so, who should face criminal charges in one of the sorriest sagas in Australian corporate history.
Asbestos, nature's gift to better living for all Australia.